Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Voiddyn and today we're going to go over the December meta for Pokemon TCG Standard. In this video we're going to talk about every deck that you could currently play in the standard format and kind of what you expect to see results on. We may not see every single deck in here as we're currently going over results that have been posted on Limitless. So if you want to talk about sources of where to find this stuff, you could go over to Limitless and check out tournament results, or you could also go onto PokeStats on Twitter and kind of see what the meta breakdown has been. So we're starting with the first deck. First deck is Regidrago VStar. This seems to be the deck to beat in the format. Regidrago VStar is very consistent. Its Apex Dragon attack lets you use any attack of a dragon Pokemon in your discard pile as its attack. It has the powerful ability Legacy Star that says during your turn, you may discard the top 7 cards of your deck, then put up to 2 cards from your discard pile into your hand, and you cannot use more than 1 V-Star power per game. So the idea is that you get a bunch of Teal Mask Ogerpons out there to accelerate grass energy onto the bench, and your main attackers are Giratina V-Star in the discard with Lost Impact, Hisuian Goodra V-Star to prevent damage to it, as well as Dragapult EX to deal 200 damage and knock things off the bench. Special placements are Alolan Executor, which allow you to knock out basic Pokemon, as well as accelerating energy from your hand onto the bench. This deck is very fast, very consistent, and is the deck to beat in the current format. On top of that, we can't talk about Regidrago being good without talking about one of the best decks in format for a long time, and that's Raging Bolt Ogerpon. Raging Bolt EX is a Pokemon that has the attack Bellowing Thunder, 70 damage, per discarded basic energy from your Pokemon. You use Teal Mask Ogerpon as shown before to accelerate energy from your hand onto the board and attack with Raging Bolt to discard them and knock out things. Very straightforward, very strong deck overall. On top of that, we have Lugia, which seems to be the gambling deck. Lugia VStar is all about discarding Archeops, which has the ability Primal Turbo. Primal Turbo reads once during your turn, you may search your deck for up to 2 special energy cards and attach them to one of your Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. One of the biggest problems in this deck is that Archeops is a stage 2. Due to that, you can't really just play it out, you have to summon it using Summoning Star, which is Lugia VStar's V-Star power ability. During your turn, you may put up to 2 colorless Pokemon that don't have a rule box from your discard pile onto your bench. Pokemon V, GX, etc. have rule boxes. You cannot use more than 1 V-Star power in a game. And honestly, what you do with Archeops is you accelerate onto things such as Cinccino with its special roll attack, as well as things like Widear to accelerate, Iron Hands to take extra prizes, and Blood Moon Ursaluna to close things out. This deck is very fast, and it's all about making sure you hit those numbers. On top of that, we have Gardevoir, which has been a staple for a long time. Gardevoir EX is all about the ability Psychic Embrace. As long as you'd like during your turn, you may attach a basic Psychic Energy from your discard pile to one of your Psychic Pokemon. If you attach energy to a Pokemon this way, put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. You can't use this ability on a Pokemon that would get knocked out. Your main targets in this list are Screamtail, which deals 20 more damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon for each damage counter on it. Note, it's not the active, it's any Pokemon on the bench. As well, Drifloon, which allows you to deal 30 damage times the number of damage counters on this Pokemon, as well as things like Mawile, which allows you to trap things into the active and let them not be able to retreat. Gardevoir has been consistently day 2 no matter what. Another new deck in the format is Klawf Terapagos EX. Klawf is all about using Unhinged Scissors that says if this Pokemon is affected by a special condition, it deals 160 more damage. You poison yourself as well as your opponent using Brute Bonnet's Toxic Powder ability that says once during your turn, if this Pokemon has an Ancient Booster Energy Capsule attached, you may make both Pokemon poisoned. You also have some really good attackers, such as Hisuian Electrode V. You can also use Pecharunt to get an easy turn 1 knockout. Honestly, this deck is very strong, takes advantage of the weakness on its opponent's Pokemon, and overall, this is definitely a deck to be feared in the format. Along with that, we now have Roaring Moon EX. Roaring Moon EX is one of the stronger Pokemon in the format. that allows you to knock out your opponent's active Pokemon, but also dealing 200 damage to itself. It's all about taking those higher trades 1-for-1, being able to knock something out that's 2 prizes and not get knocked out in return. Secondary attackers for this deck are the 1-priced Roaring Moon with the Vengeance Fletchling attack, which lets you deal 10 more damage for each ancient card in your discard pile. Miraidon, which says that if one of your other ancient Pokemon used an attack during your last turn, it deals 150 more damage. And you get to switch things in and out using Petra Run, Latias EX, as well as avoiding stalls with Iron Bundle. This deck accelerates using Professor Zada's Vitality, which makes it a very fast early knockout type of deck. With that, another contender for a deck in the format if you're looking to play it is Palkia Dusknoir. Palkia VStar Dusknoir is all about getting knockouts with the Subspace Swell, which deals 20 more damage for each Pokemon on the bench, yours and your opponent's, as well as taking advantage of the Cursed Blast ability to put 13 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon, but knocking it out in return. This deck seems to be one of those that preys on decks going wide, as well as knowing what targets to hit, so kind of get an idea of the format before you decide to play that. We also have Ancient Box in the format. Ancient Box is that deck that plays single-prized Roaring Moons, Fluttermanes, Great Tusks, Miraidon, and honestly, you're all about just taking the 1-for-1s. Roaring Moon's attack, Vengeance Fletchling, is all about building up more and more damage for each ancient card in your discard pile. A great deck overall, honestly something that we should see more often. We also have Gholdengo. Gholdengo's all about using Gholdengo EX's attack Make It Rain to discard any number of basic energy cards from your hand, dealing 50 per card you discard this way. There are 2 ways to build it, one using Origin Form Palkia VStar to get those energies back, allowing you to attack with Radiant Greninja, and also Origin Form Palkia VStar at the drop of a hat. Honestly, this deck is very resilient as your main attacker is also your main draw engine. Overall, such a fantastic deck to play. We also have Lost Zone Box. Lost Zone Box has been a staple for a while, utilizing the Lost Zone as your main attacking source. Comfy, which has Flower Selecting that says once during your turn, if this is in the active spot, you may look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put one of them in your hand and the other in the Lost Zone. This whole deck is all about utilizing things that interact with the Lost Zone, such as Sableye with its Lost Mine attack that says you can attack only if you have 10 or more cards in the Lost Zone. You put 12 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon any way you'd like. As well as Cramorant that can attack for free if you have 4 or more cards in the Lost Zone. You ignore all energy in this Pokemon's attack costs. This allows you to utilize things such as TMs as well, such as Crisis Punch, but a lot of people are playing this with Mirage Gate, which allows you to search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards of different types and attach them to Pokemon in any way you'd like, then shuffle your deck. That allows you to place things such as Iron Hands with the attack Amp You Very Much to take an extra prize here or there as you need, as well as the card Pikachu EX, which deals 300 damage by discarding 3 energy from this Pokemon. This deck has a lot of finishers, and so overall, if you're interested in utilizing the Lost Zones with cards such as Colress's Experiment, this is definitely the way to go. Another deck in the format that cannot be slept on is Charizard EX. Charizard EX has so many different ways to play it, so find the one that works for you. You can use Dusknoir, you could just be with Pidgeot EX, there are so many different ways to play the deck. Honestly, you're all about utilizing Charizard's Infernal Rain ability, which states when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may search your deck for up to 3 basic Fire energy cards and attach them to Pokemon in any way you'd like, then shuffle your deck. The attack Burning Darkness starts low at 180, but goes 30 higher for each prize card your opponent has taken. This deck is all about hitting fast and hard, and finding every piece you need with Pidgeot's Quick Search ability, which allows you to search for any card out of your deck once per turn, and then add it to your hand. You cannot chain multiple Pidgeot EXs together, so find exactly what you need. And finally, another deck that has been doing super well in the format is Miraidon EX. Miraidon EX is all about playing electric Pokemon and utilizing Tandem Unit, which says once during your turn you may search for up to 2 basic lightning Pokemon, put them onto your bench and shuffle your deck. This deck is all about utilizing electric generators to accelerate electric energy onto your Pokemon and have them attack super fast and super consistently. Along with that, we have Magneton, which uses the Overvolt Discharge ability that says once during your turn, you may attach up to 3 basic energy cards from your discard pile to your lightning Pokemon in any way you'd like. If you use this ability, this Pokemon's knocked out. So you give up a prize card to do a very strong attack. You also have stuff such as Raichu V, which allows you to discard any number of lightning energy from your Pokemon. This attack does 60 damage for each card discarded this way. Honestly, with the introduction of Latias EX, it gets rid of one of the weaknesses of the deck, which is not being able to retreat as soon as possible. And honestly, this is a fantastic deck that has won regionals in the past and will continue to do it in the future. And that's about it for what the meta's looking like right now. I did miss a couple decks because they did not show up in Day 2 in the Toronto regionals. There, things like Cerulean might be something that you see more play of, but honestly, I think that the decks that I've named off right now are currently the meta. Things that are missing are stuff such as Chien-Pao, which hasn't really been performing lately. So keep an eye out for these types of videos where I summarize the meta and give you an idea of what's being played right now and kind of a general idea of how to play them. If you enjoyed this content, feel free to drop a sub, give a like, watch the video, recommend it to your friends, and I'll see you guys next week when we talk about some other stuff. Have a great day. Bye-bye.